Welcome to Board Game Impact. My name is Bruce Brown, and in this video I'm going to be going through all the games that I got from the 2019 holiday season through Board Game Geek Secret Santa as well as from family. So stay tuned because there's some really cool things. I'm going to show you all that's involved. So if this is your first time visiting Board Game Impact, so what Board Game Impact is mostly a podcast. So go on over to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Podcasts, wherever you enjoy getting your podcasts, go on over there, search Board Game Impact and hit subscribe. On the channel, what we're doing is, my name is Bruce Brown and I work in education full-time. So I'm a university instructor. I teach leadership development, and I'm also getting my PhD in human resource development. And what I seek to do is work with my buddy Josh over on the podcast. And what we seek to do is combine those two passions. So the higher education university teaching elements, as well as our board games and a love for board games, to make some wonderful content for you. So if that sounds like interest of combining those things and really being able to break down experiences and maximize your experiences with games to find out what games are going to be right for you and your gaming group, make sure to hit subscribe. So like I said, today I'm going to be going through a couple really cool things I got from the holiday season. And I'd be amiss if I didn't start with my BGG Secret Santa. So Santa, if you are watching this, thank you. So for those of you who are unaware, Board Game Geek, so BoardGameGeek.com, hosts a yearly Secret Santa gift exchange in which you commit to spending at least $50, including shipping, and you get a target. You can choose to be within the United States, continental United States, or even do international. Last year I actually had, my target was in Chile, and I had to work with some different Chilean companies in order to get them their games, but they ended up loving it and ended up all working out. This year I did just within the US, and so how it works is I was someone's target, and I also had my own target. And so my target had started sending me some pretty cool emails. They have an anonymous email link that you can use. And so I got information about reindeer and the utilization of GPS, and I should say that regardless of what you celebrate or if you don't celebrate at all, this is open to all. It's just the idea of a Secret Santa and that gift exchange. That's just where that comes from, but it's open to people of all backgrounds. And so my Santa sent me a package, and inside was going to be some games, of course, because it came from Card House. But this being said, my Santa wanted me to wait because there was going to be another package coming. And then I eventually got that package, and then Santa said, once you get the second package, you can open it. And so the second package on the inside had this. It's actually a letter from, I don't know if you can see it, but North Pole, Alaska. And it made it out to me with a Santa stamp and everything. And on the inside, it actually had a letterhead from North Pole, Alaska, as well as all information about how I'm on the good list and all those kind of things. Santa money, as well as a sticker saying I'm on the good list, and of course a autographed signed letter from Santa himself. But besides that, I also got an ornament from North Pole, Alaska. It's really cool for my family to be able to get those kind of things. So thank you, Santa, for that. But also, thank you, Santa, for getting me one of my favorite games that was new to me in 2019, but I didn't own a copy. But every time people would bring it to game night, I wanted to play it. So I had to have a copy for myself. So I put it on my wish list, and Santa came through in spades. And that was Downforce by Restoration Games. Downforce is a really fun racing game, but here, if you notice the sound of this, it's pretty heavy because it's not just the base game. Downforce, like I said, is a racing game where you're playing cards each turn to then race around the track. And I haven't even opened up my pack of cards yet, but I can show you some of the cool things inside, including all of the little cars, the player markers to see which cars you own, the score pads, of course. So how it works is you're going to be bidding at different times throughout the game, and depending on how your bid pans out, you get different amounts of money, which then equate to victory points. But in here is the main map. And essentially, when I see this map, I just think of honestly playing Mario Kart as a kid. So super fun game, super lighthearted, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of like yelling at horses if you've ever played those kind of games. But that being said, the reason it's so heavy is because Santa also included the Downforce expansion. This is the Danger Circuit expansion, which adds in a couple more powers. Still plays up to 6, but it adds in some nice variability with the 2 double-sided maps in there as well. But these maps are super thick, so they need to go in first, otherwise it'd crush everything. So thank you, Santa. This is immediately in my game bag and has already come to one game day where they just didn't choose to play this one last night when we had their game day. So yeah, thank you for that. Okay, some other things. Now on to the family. So starting smaller, the next game I got was Azul Summer Pavilion. So this is the 3rd game in the Azul line. So you have the original Azul, and then you have Azul Stained Glass of Sintra, which came out last year, and then this one is Azul Summer Pavilion. And so this game, like the other Azuls, is tile laying. However, unlike Sintra, this one goes back to the original routes in which you work off of your player board. So no more you're flipping player board pieces around like in Sintra. But also it's not a game in which you have to take your tiles and then lay them immediately. So you actually go through a tile laying phase, one set of tiles at a time, and by player order, which is a lot of fun and removes, kind of increases the player interaction a little bit because you get to see what they're doing and you're able to think through a little bit more. But it's beautiful. So I'm gonna upload some pictures on Facebook that I've been already playing this version with my wife, 2-player, which is nice. But I also played this a bunch of times at BGG Con in November, and that's why it was on my list of have to get, because honestly, for me, it's the best of the 3 Azuls. So if you're interested or you like base game Azul, definitely check this out. And the other cool thing about it is they changed the tile design. Instead of looking like Starburst, now they're these really cool rhombuses, essentially, which are really cool. And some different scoring mechanics, as well as the introduction of what's a wild tile. So it's added in some nice flavor that really, honestly, rejuvenates the Azul brand for me, as well as adds in some ways to have more player interaction, which is great. So great job, Michael Kiesling on this one, and Next Move Games for bringing out another good version of Azul. Another game that I actually started playing, I played the game that came after this. It was a spiritual successor to it over at BGG. That was as Taverns of Tiefenhall, and because the original game, Quacks of Quedlinburg. This is by Wolfgang Warsch. So this won the Kenner Spiel des Jahres last year in 2018. It's published by North Star Game. If you're not familiar with Quacks of Quedlinburg, everyone just calls it Quacks. So if you hear them talking about that, that's what this is. Or this is that, actually. So what this is a bag building game in which you're essentially pushing your luck to then build your little potions, your quack, because you're like a quack doctor alchemist back in the day. But what's really nice about it, they included a ton of variability with this. So here's the player board. So you're going to be laying your little tiles, the little pieces, chits that you get from your bag around the board, hoping not to go over and overflow your potions. So it's got a whole bunch of nice drawstring bags, as well as I added these. I went to the dollar store for $1 I got 10 of these little boxes, because you have 9 little different sets of chits to hold. Instead of using bags, I just find it makes it a little easier to bring it to the table. And so actually we played this last night and had a lot of fun with it over at a pub. It was kind of perfect for that, and it was really at pushing your luck. Sadly, in the last round, you know what? Sometimes just luck doesn't go your way, and for that case, it was my wife. But yep, it was a ton of fun. Wolfgang Warsch just keeps hitting it out of the park. Some other games by him, if you do like this or you like the other games, so you've got Ganz schön clever, Doppelt clever, as well as Taverns of Tiefenhall, the newer one. And so this is a great game to go check it out. So thank you, family, for this. Okay, next up, the smallest one, actually. It's because it's an expansion, but that is the Wingspan European expansion. So this is the expansion, of course, to the very popular Wingspan by Elizabeth Hargraves, published by Stonemaier Games. So this adds in more bird cards, as well as some now purple eggs, because who doesn't need nice purple eggs in their life? But the coolest thing for me personally, it adds in some more end of round scoring tiles that have nothing to do with the ones that are in the base game. So in the base game, you are essentially playing birds from your hand, and you are feeding from dice from a little bird feeder. And you're going to be playing those cards out to essentially build your tableau between 3 different environments for your birds. The thing is, though, all the end of the round scoring options, these little tiles, mostly had to do with a type of bird that has eggs, which are victory points, as well as a way you can hatch more birds. And these add in different things that aren't those. So you get actually incentivized to not just do the same kind of thing. So it's going to increase a lot of variability with it, and some different scoring things. So I'm interested to see how that works. But then the birds add some new powers. So in the base game, you would really have things that would be like when played or when activated, or the rarer once between rounds. It adds in more of those, as well as a new one that's at the end of the round, powers for birds. And then also some cool ones. There's 4 birds in the deck that essentially eat your other birds. So you play them over one of your birds already on your board, which is cool. And it's cool to be able to replace some birds, because once they were down, and you can't really do anything with them. But this adds in some cool variability with that. So cannot wait to essentially add it all together, because I think it's going to make it really pop. Plus, you have more of that beautiful bird art. And so the next one, I actually took the game out of the box because this game is heavy, and it would be hard to put up here. So the games are actually already sitting out right here, but that is Catan Starfarers. So Catan Starfarers originally came out in 1999, and this is essentially a reprint. It's similar to base Catan in that it is collecting resources to go out and do things, and place down your settlements. However, that's about where the similarities end, because in this one, it's a much bigger box than base Catan. Got the rules reference as well as an almanac, some nice game trays for your different resources, but it is a modular board, and essentially they're big puzzle pieces. There's 6 of these, and you're going to assemble it. If you notice, there are little divots, because you'll actually take different planet systems and place them in here randomly at the start of the game. So you can have it unexplored, and then when you flip it over, it's then explored and you find out what it is. Or you can go with the starter setup, which has a standard map setup for the beginning of the game. But also what's different about it, it's unlike base Catan, you're not going to have your route. You'll actually be building little ships and flying them around the galaxy. So I'll actually take one of these out for you. So you will take your colony and put a little ship on it, and sail your little ship around the board. And then when you get it to a place you're done, and that's where you want to plant it, you take your ship off. So that's cool. But how do you move around and things like that? Because in the base game, you just rolled the dice and got resources. We still do that. You've got 2 dice, a white one and a black one, to get the resources. However, after you do your building and your collecting of resources, it's time to shake up your ship. I'm sorry, that's probably really loud on this microphone right here. And so everyone gets their mothership. This represents these little ships, essentially, that I was just showing you about. What's really cool about these is your movement is going to be dependent on the balls that come down. And so don't worry, you do have nice 3 player references per player. And so with this, with the red and the yellow there, I would have a movement of 5. But that's just my base movement, because I could have also built on little boosters to add to my speed, add to my base speed. Or, hey, I want to be able to do more trading on the board and go to different trade posts. Well, I can add on little trade pods on there. Or, hey, there's little pirates and stuff around the galaxy, so I might as well equip with some different lasers, some cannons. And yes, there are a whole bunch of spots around here, so you can load up your ship like crazy. So this is pretty cool. But also, if you roll and you get a black die like that, on your turn you have a base movement of 3, but then the person to your left will also draw one of these cards. And what these big cards are events. If you notice, I have 2 different ones here. This one has some flavor, like the prompt, and then depending on what they give. So this one, I'm not going to read what the results are, but you encounter a starship of the travelers. They're revered by the entire galaxy. They ask for a donation. How many resources do you donate? And so you donate between 0 to 3, and depending on how many you donate, you get a different reward or punishment. And then this one's a different type of event, and it is actually a decision tree. So you'd either say yes or no to this one. So the first one is, a space pirate attacks you. Do you flee? If you say yes, you'd go down one rabbit hole. If you say no, you'd go down another one. And wherever you end up, that's what happens to you. In this case, the options would be between victory and defeat based on the choices that you make in the game. So it's really, really cool. I cannot wait to get it to the table. You played at 15 points instead of the typical 10. Everyone and every review I've seen of this essentially says, if you know Catan, the people know Catan, then this replaces all of that for you because of the new things it adds in, and it just begs to come to the table again and again. So I cannot wait to play this game, and I really look forward to doing that real soon. That is the extent of all the games that I got for Christmas and for the holiday season. I hope that you got some wonderful games. Please post in the comments which game that I just showed that you're most interested in or want to know more about, and I can maybe go into a little bit more detail in a deeper review. But also, if you got any cool games for the holidays, do let me know what you got, because I also want to be on the lookout for what games you're interested in playing and what things you're really excited to play, because this is a hobby and I want to be able to celebrate that with you. So again, my name is Bruce Brown. Please do make sure to hit that subscribe button, and so you can get more content, because we do different reviews. I do a lot of live streams just to talk to you and do some live playthroughs. And we got a lot more cool things coming down in 2020. So until then, have a happy new year, and I hope that this was really cool for you. All right, bye.